Right guys, welcome back to a review which I haven't done in a long time, partly because it came into a period where, there wasn't too many actual trades taken, and then obviously I started live, so I thought, look, I might as well just wait until the end of the month. So I think I haven't done one in like, what, 8 weeks maybe, and it was initially meant to be every 2 weeks, but look, I thought, okay, it's a bit silly because there's not too much to talk about every 2 weeks per my style. And as you see in the month of July, so I'll probably do this every month, or the last week of the month, you can say. And I've taken 9 trades, so I guess I'll unhide all these columns, I think, or whatever I've got in here, and I will just sort of talk through it. But as you see, 9 trades, I'm minus 23 pips down. Now I want to sort of go over my account, which I'll actually open up my well, not my bank statement, my statement from my actual broker, and basically talk you over some of the things I see, because it's all good, like say minus 23 pips, and I'm not exactly, that far in the red. However, due to commission, right, it's something that has played a part as expected, of course. So here's what it is. So I'll just draw it out right now. £200 account, and I'm not shy to do it because I probably won't do it with a £1,000,000 account, but I'm trying to say. And then out of my trades, I've lost 1.90, or £1.90, sorry, and then commission has been 1.62. So this is your this is my P&L, actual P&L, you can say. And so totally overall, totally, what the hell? I'm trying to read and write, so bear with me for a second. I'm minus 3.52, so that takes my account to 196.48. That's my account right now. And if you're looking at it, from a percentage point of view, 3.52 divided by 200 is, times 100, you can say, it doesn't really matter. 1.76%. So let's just add this on. So that's what I am, down for this month now. Right. So that's all the stats down, you can say. And I also want to speak over basically how I found it, what I'm thinking. Am I panicking because I've just had a negative month in my first month? What are my thoughts and everything? Now, first things first. I anticipated slower / more uncertain markets, and that's more to do with my trading style. And I'll probably use, there was a lot of examples maybe on the yen pairs, which here we was, where is it, all the divergence on the daily, these slowdowns on the daily, and then obviously that conflicts with some of the stuff on the hourly. So it was a little bit more mix and match compared to, let's say, this period where the daily's bearish and then the hourly's bearish. So here, you get a few more false signals. You're on this week's support. So it was, for me, I anticipated that, I guess, around mid-June to around the start of June. That's why I was sort of anticipating these types of markets, because it's just a natural phase. That's what we're sort of going into. We can't do a certain move forever. So that's number one, and I anticipated that. And if you look over here, you'll see obviously these are all the datas I've tracked, and I've rated every trade. Now you see I haven't really had these 7 out of 10 trades or whatever, which I did have at the start, and that's mainly because, again, daily perspective and overall perspective of the market, alongside a few other things, of course. But these are all taken into account. And in my forward testing, there was a few more 7s, again, just because it was in that trendy period, let's say, on here. He was taking shorts left, right, and center. There was clean pullbacks, everything, strength, and, it was much better for my system back then, which is fine. We sort of have to wait until these periods come again. Now, I think something interesting to note is this, right? The trades I've rated 5 out of 10 have all lost. Obviously, it's a small sample. We're only talking, a month, but, 2 losses and one was break even, which won in the end. And this trade actually was quite an eye opener for me personally. So the main reason for that is, I think if you remember the review, I think it was review number 58. Basically, I had a potential short on the Aussie and New Zealand yen, Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD, and obviously Aussie and New Zealand are fairly correlated pairs, and then a short on all of these, you can see, expect that correlation to the downside. So, that's something I was going on. So all these four pairs, I think might have been an extra one as well on New Zealand, some maybe in New Zealand dollar as well. But either way, all the other predictions played out, and I just didn't get an entry on these. And on this one, the one I did get an entry, consolidated a little bit. There was that FOMC statement, I think, and the created movement came enough to, for me to move stops to break even, and then obviously just stopped me out literally to like the pit for break even and carried on lower, which was frustrating a little bit. I'm not going to lie, because obviously that winner would have, you can say, taken me into the positive and whatnot, but it doesn't really matter in terms of pips wise. I don't really care. Now I'm hitting at a 33 win percentage, which again for me it's below my norms typically. Typically I'd say I'm at least 50 to 60% win rate, and that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't even count this as a loss. I'll probably, again it's -2 pips, but for me this is a break even trade, so I might even have to color it in and whatnot. But it is what it is, and I'm fine with that. Now, a lot of these trendy opportunities, so I've basically had roles reversed, as in, in my forward testing, counter trend was letting me down, which made sense during very trendy markets, and then now trend trading has, you can say, let me down a little bit, which makes sense because we're entering that phase, that interesting transition phase. That's how I describe it for now. I can't really describe any better, it's just my discretion. And you would see that actually on my trend in trades, I think I've only had like one winner. Nope, no winners at all. Obviously this could have been a winner, but again, these are actually some of the 5 out of 10s, and it's one of these things where these setups in particular, they weren't too convincing in themselves, obviously, hence the 5. RSI here was very weak, and this is rounded up to 20, but it's like 19.63. There was divergence on them. Hidden divergence is an interesting one, obviously now I'm tracking that. And there's a lot more things that, are coming into play, and I just feel like it's quite valuable. And to be honest, you might be thinking, oh, you don't know your drawdowns, you haven't back tested, and all of these things, that, and if you're losing, how far do you go into losing? Well, I'll tell you what, right now, I've been losing my other account for, how knows now, 7-8 months now, or seven full months, and you keep going. But what makes me want to keep going with this is the fact that I simply believe in every single trade I take. Now, yes, some are better than others, these weren't as good as, let's say, this one, right? But this was a 5 out of 10 simply because of where my stop was, pretty much, just because it was it was a very aggressive stop, and it wasn't the ideal location. But what I'm trying to say is every single one of these trades that I've taken, all 9 out of 9, this month, I've had genuine belief that, look, price can hit targets before it hits stop loss, right? And that's just me doing my analysis and just looking at these. Now, one of the things I've also learned a little bit more is about trade management and the possibilities of trade management. So, one of the things would be, let's say, Aussie yen, which I took the short in. Where was it? I took the short here. Yeah, I think it was here. Yeah, give me a sec. So, me taking the short here, I think you would have seen me do this in my reviews. I basically, okay, what was it? I can't remember, but it doesn't really matter. But either way, I've been looking a lot of trade management in itself, as in when I'm in the trade, what do I actually think will happen? What signals am I getting? I think it's probably wiser if I just do this, to be honest, and just take pictures, because I've got the screenshot of every trade. So what I just do is I'll put the hourly before, or as soon as I execute the setup, and then the 5-minute is sort of the review. And you sort of look at all of this movement and see, look, how could have I maybe added on to position size or decreased it? In this case, I would have added, right? you know, this stuff here wasn't too convincing. However, after this break, you know, I was more like, okay, this is going to be a winner. We pulled back. This was a level of interest that I had. Maybe this candle was something I could have enhanced position on. You know, do I keep stops and targets the same? How do I do that? And obviously it rolled over to a winner, I guess, here. So, you know, how do I do, you know, the actual enhancement of the position? I think this one is quite interesting as well. And I've had two trades which basically is this type of scenario where there's a double top, which is here inside this double top, right? And you know, technically that does look like a flag. I mean, not flag, sorry, ascending triangle, obviously, but because I played the break, it sort of defeats that, you know, ascending channel. But as you see here, we held this level once, twice. It turned into a flag almost, and you know, we then closed above. So a lot of opportunities for me to actually get out for break even, especially towards this end here. And you know, I'm just really keeping an eye out for trade management. Maybe I won't take the whole position off just because I still have that, you can say, fear of missing out, but maybe I take half of it off a break even and I leave that other half to lose or whatever. So, you know, me going live has sort of forced me to look at trades a little bit more, just because for me it's natural instinct to just be, I'm already at my charts, but as soon as you can say that little bit emotionally attached in your trade, you start looking at it a little bit more, and you know, you check it maybe a few more times a day than you initially have, just because again you want to see it. You obviously have to manage it, you have to um be there at the screen. You know, there might be an occasional one in forward testing where, you know, obviously the management, I never actually managed the trades. You know, this whole 80% rule was just more for afterwards as a filter. And another thing that's keeping me going, you can say, is this, right? So obviously you can say forward testing, it wasn't enough. You can say, you know, 3 months. But look, you know, I started off 2 winners. I had, you know, a period where I was losing money here. You see, you've got a low win rate, quite a few consecutive losers. Then obviously I hit a very nice winning streak. This was probably that May period. Yeah, you see, May was quite trendy this year. Last year it was April. And then we hit another losing streak, a little small one, and then this one was quite a red one as well. So, you know, I've had losing streaks, but again, what keeps me going, and obviously you see they come in phases, is that I believe in every single setup I take, right? And it's just simple as that. And for various reasons, you know, I believe a little bit more in a certain one and compared to others, but it is what it is. And you know, I'm looking at it, these 5 out of 10 setups, especially these two, Aussie yen and dollar yen, these setups really stick into my mind just because they weren't really ideal for 2 reasons. Mainly because RSI was just oversold and they were at minor level of resistance. Within overall, you can say consolidation. So again, these things I can avoid in the future, and it's not to say now, oh, you know, I'm going to avoid them straight away, but you know, it's in the back of my mind. Look, I can do this, I can do that. You know, there was a situation recently on, I can't remember which pair it was, but basically you can say it was a missed winner just because I wanted the opportunity, but because it technically didn't meet my whole, you know, RSI structure combination rules, you know, I sort of wanted to wait for a 26.18 on the 60, even though I did think it would have just carried on down. And you know, this little discretion, it gets developed a lot more in live markets, and especially if you're live trading as well. So that's just my opinion. And also commission, right? You know, if I'm getting charged commission on every single trade, regardless if it's a winner or loser, well, you might want to, you know, cut back the frequency, you can say. Even though 9 trades for a day trading, you could say in a month is very low, but I'm talking, you know, in general, you can cut the frequency down to, you know, reduce that commission and take your so-called only greater setups, right? That's one of the things. And then lastly, I want to finish it off by, obviously, like I said before, there was a few setups which were correlating here in the New Zealand yen. I think this was actually one of them here, yeah. So it was this setup that, you know, I wanted to be involved in and whatnot. A few other ones as well, but basically the whole thing behind it is, I mean, this short as well. I can't remember. There was a lot of shorts I was, you know, looking to be involved in, but you know, I just didn't get an entry. So instantly I thought, oh, look, how can I increase my aggression? And also I did a video on this a few weeks ago, maybe, how to develop your aggression. And, you know, the next stage down from, you can say, 2618 is just a double top, or a double top with a lower low, lower close. However, I don't really like that bit. I don't really like that style of it. So, you know, I spent a whole day back testing, you can say, pound yen from, like, you know, April, just to see how I could do it with a different entry. And what I was looking at is a moving average crossover, which you'll see here. You know, as soon as the 5 minute is, or the 5 EMA is lower than the thing, and I need a lower low, lower close. So in this case, it would be, let's say, on this candle, if I was to look for a short for whatever reason. And I was looking into it, and obviously there's pros and cons to both. However, it just, you know, very quickly I realized actually moving averages and whatnot, I'm not too keen on it. They don't really sit well with me that much. So, you know, yes, I want to develop my aggression, but for now, you know, I'm a bit, you can say, stuck in choosing what I like and how I can develop it, because I don't want to go as, you know, just a lower low, lower close on the 5 or the 15 even. I want to have that confirmation of a break to the downside or a move to the downside. But how do I do this, you know, that suits me and works, and it actually increases aggression rather than decreasing opportunities and whatnot. So, you know, that's something that I'll continuously be looking at. I think next thing which I'm going to be keeping an eye on, you can say, is if I get like something along these lines. So, right, let's say there's a move to the upside. Where's the drawing box? There you go. Right, let's say we do something like this. Right, move to the upside, and I'm looking for a short, and then I look at this and I see 2 rejection candles. Right, maybe this one needs to go above the second or the first one, or maybe it needs to only go 50% of it, or whatever. It doesn't matter. And you know, I think there was an interesting technique introduced to me, you can say, by someone, which you know, if it does go to 50%, you actually place a sell stop at this here on the open of this candle, or the highest body of the candle, right? Which is quite an interesting, you know, method to do it in. And then another thing you can do is trade it like the FTB. You can say, put your sell stop here, and that way you've got your rejections and you're going down with momentum, right? And then if I was to do this, I'd be looking to do it on the hourly, and you know, have tight stops, like let's say 5 pips, just like the FTB, but mainly because the ATR on the 5 minutes around 5 pips and max for most pairs. So, you know, here's my minimum target. I can adjust, you know, depending on if there is like an even handle or whatever. So I'm flexible with that, and you know, ride it down. So that's something I'll be keeping an eye on for the next month or so, you can say, especially on these missed opportunities. And then I want to set a time. Maybe I'll only do this type of entry until maybe 3 p.m. because again, I don't want to be here at 4, 5, 6 p.m. just keeping an eye out for one candle. You know, I want to still be free in my day. So there's so many things. Again, this review is quite long, but it's been long overdue, and I think that there's quite a bit to share about it. And obviously, if you're still here till the end, you might have learned a few things that you can apply to your trading. If you're already gone, well, obviously you're not listening to this, so it is what it is. I don't mind. These are mainly done for me, and you know, any way that you lot can benefit, then you know, sure, you know, that's the goal as well. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, like, comment, all of them things, and yeah, in a bit.